Hello and welcome to episode 1050 of The Sleeper and the Bust. It is Tuesday, May 10th. I'm your host, Paul Sporer, joined this afternoon by Justin Mason. Justin, good afternoon, sir.
Good morning to you.
This is that part of the day when we're in the opposites, or, the difference times a day there, because it is still morning. It's 11 a.m. over there, so I understand not getting a good afternoon greeting. We're going to talk some buy or sell on hot streaks right now. We've talked cuttable players the last couple times out. Got a few guys, it's been a little while since we've really dove in on, hot streaks. So we're going to kind of tour the positions, look at a handful of guys and see where you're at with them. Are we picking them up in 10s and 12s? These are guys that are most likely rostered in 15s. So this is a little bit of a shallower league episode, folks, but stick around. We're going to talk about a lot of fun players. Let's start with Jonah Heim. We talked about him about 3 weeks ago, I believe, and he went on paternity leave, but also has continued to hit well upon returning. Now he's got dad strength, so that kind of ups his home run projection by like 70%, I think. Since coming back, he does have a homer, and he's 4 for 11, 14 plate appearances. Problem is he doesn't play all the time. They're not committed necessarily to Garver at DH and Heim catching. I wish they would have a bit more commitment to that. It looks like he's mostly playing against lefties right now. Can you get on Jonah Heim in a one-catcher format?
Ooh, that's hard. Just not because he's not playing well, and I don't think he can continue to play well, but in like a 10-team one-catcher league, the lack of playing time becomes kind of an issue because you're trying to accumulate as many stats, obviously, in every format. But
top 10 so far: Real Muto, Varsho, Sean Murphy, Heim himself at 4, Travis d'Arnaud, Wilson Contreras, Will Smith, Sal Perez, Austin Nola, Francisco Mejia.
I think it kind of
top 10.
I think it kind of comes down to league or your team context. If you have a few players who are platooning or aren't playing full time, I don't know that I want another player that's not going to play a whole lot. But if you,
because that volume will hurt the runs and ribbies,
the combination of the volume, right? Like if you've got, I don't know, I'm like trying to think of a good example.
A strong side platoon in San Francisco who doesn't
any
play
giant
against
exactly.
and any, like, you got 2 Giants and Heim, like, they're good when they play, but they don't play. That will add up.
I mean, even if your players are like collectively really good, you're still missing like a player when you've got
volume matters.
Yeah, when you got 3 guys who are platooning.
And that's something to analyze too, particularly in the shallower formats where the waiver wires are going to be stronger. Make sure you're analyzing your volume output and not falling too far behind in that. And sometimes you consider giving up the better per plate appearance guy for a similarly talented but plays more, so he gets maybe a little bit more exposed in his OPS, but much higher volume runs and ribbies guy. So I'm struggling to think of one off the top of my head. It would be like a full-timer who isn't quite as good as like Mike Yastrzemski is on a per at bat basis, but Mike Yastrzemski is not going to play against lefties. He's going to miss that time. And if you've got multiples, if you have him and Jock and they're killing righties over the course of the season, that volume will catch up to you. Right now, Jock has been so good that he's running with the pack, but it will fall because he'll have a week where he plays 2 games because they get 5 lefties or something. So Jonah Heim is tough. I agree, it's team context. I like him though at catcher. 2 catchers, he should be rostered in all of those. I hope that he is. If for some reason he's not, remedy that. I like him in all 2 catchers.
He's doing everything right. I mean, he's making a lot of zone contact, especially for a catcher. He's hitting the ball hard. He's barreling it when he does hit it. Like, he's doing everything he needs to do to kind of be a really good fantasy option if he were to get more playing time. But I think he's borderline. I think he probably should be rostered in 10-team leagues. I don't know if your team is the one that needs to be rostered on that.
Yep. Talked about that concept this morning about Thairo Estrada in like a 12-teamer. He has 4 steals and his 238 average isn't that far off from like at league average. And he has 2 homers, Thairo Estrada. So that's pretty valuable. But is it valuable for everybody's team equally in a 12-teamer? Absolutely not. So I think,
he's going to run into some playing time issues as the Giants start getting guys back. Because
no doubt.
Once Longoria comes back, Wilmer's got to play somewhere.
Yes. So just an aside there on Thairo Estrada, because that same concept that we always talk about, yeah, you are right. He should be off the wire, but you don't have the right cut. Eric Hosmer is somebody who is playing well, but there is no change to it. He's not even doing the 2020 thing where he faked like he was going to hit the ball in the air for a while. It looks like a pretty standard heater. I mean, he's, a capable league average player. A 1 month heater here and there is not terribly surprising. He's on fire. But what do you think about Eric Hosmer? Does he need to be rostered right now with 3 homers, 18 ribbies, 11 runs, and a 350 average in 113 plate appearances?
It's amazing a guy with this kind of heater only has 3 home runs.
Part of that is the context of the league, though.
Yeah, and it's the fact that he does not hit. He's got his launch angle is 5 degrees.
58% ground ball rate too. So he's part of it too. But he would probably have like 5 in a normal context on a heater like this. He's probably been robbing like 2 homers from some squish balls or something.
Yeah,
but he's the 10th ranked first baseman on the season in the ESPN Player Rater.
That feels like the ceiling, though. Like I
agree.
I guess
you need to ride it.
I guess you can ride it for now, but like I feel like this could all fall apart. Like right now, he's just hitting ground balls that are finding the hole. That's not going to last forever. Did you see his defensive play last night?
Was it sick or terrible?
It was awful. It was
what happened?
It was like, I don't want to call it a routine ground ball from either third or shortstop, but like for him, it should have been routine, right? You put 1 foot on the bag, on the inside of the bag, and you reach out. For some reason, he was on the outside of the bag. The ball was not hit towards him at all. Like there was no reason.
He messed up his footing.
He was completely out of position. It cost them a run.
No,
because he then missed the throw because he was getting tangled up with the runner, and like it was. I have no idea what was going on there, but
that is brutal. So that's Eric Hosmer, and always lauded for his defense. And it's like, it's not bad, but the metrics have never really borne out that he's like an elite defender. So I don't know.
He's an elite person, is what it is, right? He's just. I wouldn't say he's a clubhouse guy, but he's an elite person.
He is well liked.
Not by us.
Not by us. No, not a fan. I think he is, or maybe he just one of those guys that talks to everyone, doesn't really care that everyone thinks he's a D-bag or something. I don't know. I don't want to cast aspersions. Actually, I do. Fuck that guy. He was shit. We have to assess his fantasy value fairly, even though we're not particularly huge fans. Like seriously though, like he's crushing. Do you have to pick up Eric Hosmer right now? Should he already be rostered?
He probably should be rostered. Unless I'm probably not picking him up unless I have like a truly atrocious first base situation. Like if you're in a redraft
at ESPN, so he is pretty rostered. My bad. I still included him. I'm glad I still included him just to talk about where it's going to go from here. But he is.
If you have him, I would try to sell high on him. Like I would see what I could get.
Yeah. Package him with somebody else.
Yeah, and
consolidate your talent.
Yeah, try to get an upgrade somewhere else, or maybe like try and go and get a struggling pitcher or something like that.
Yeah.
Because this can only end the way it always ends, which is in disappointment.
I think that's true with Hosmer. I'm just not really seeing it. What about Brandon Drury? He was a big pickup this past weekend in the NFBC because he's been out of his mind and he plays everywhere. You're talking about second, third outfield eligibility, throw in middle and corner there. And that's really, really huge for Brandon Drury, but he's only 20% in ESPN leagues. Is he a shallow league player? He's batting second every day for Cincinnati, tearing the cover off the ball right now, hit another homer on Monday night. Is Drury starting to dip down into 10s and 12s, or is he really just that perfect 15-teamer?
This feels like a humble brag because my boy here was aggressive on Brandon Drury, and you had people all over the industry yelling at you on Twitter over it.
Let's go.
So you went out and got Brandon Drury, I think, in both your mains.
7. Yeah, we got him. That was the target. Like, I don't even believe he's going to hold at this level. Nobody does. But what about league average for 400 more plate appearances for $57?
Yeah,
I mean, all day, qualifying at 5 spots. Like, he's a great Swiss Army knife. If he stays healthy, I think it's going to be perfectly capable. Or do you think this is a heater where he goes back down to a 70 OPS plus like he had in 2019?
I don't think he's going to go back. I don't think he's going to go back down. Drury's a guy I've always loved. Like, I was a big Drury guy. He never panned out in Toronto. Or at Arizona,
where it started.
Yeah, Arizona.
He had a few decent seasons where it's like, okay, here he comes, and then it never popped.
And the problem is, at the moment, Cincinnati is an absolute mess, and not just from like a wins-loss perspective, but from an IL perspective. They have Joey Votto on the IL, Jonathan India, Mike Moustakas went on yesterday, Jose Barrero, Donovan Solano, Jake Fraley, and Nick Senzel.
And sure.
I mean, their offense, they have almost a full offense on the IL right now. At some point, those guys will be back. And so I think he could run into playing time, especially because India's going to play every day.
Not if he's playing like this. India's not going to be back for a while. So I think second's open for a while, but he's been playing third. He's better than Moustakas right now. Easily.
Yeah, but Moustakas is getting paid more, and they want to try to move him, and so they're going to give him that role.
Not going to be able to move most.
I think if he continues to do what he's doing, they're going to be forced to find a spot for him. It may not be at one spot. And there are really good signs. He's hitting the ball hard. He's making good zone contact. He's swinging outside the zone less than he has in his career.
Yeah, Drury is slamming the ball.
Yeah, but there's a lot of reasons to be encouraged.
Yeah, but I'm like, again, I don't even need it to be at a 157 clip. I take a 107 WRC plus the rest of the way. I think the playing time will be there because he plays everywhere. Because he can go second, third to a corner outfield. You know, Pham is somebody I really see getting traded. That would open up left field. Again, I think he's better than Moose right now. And if he's playing at a strong clip like this, then Drury's going to play over Moose. I believe that. So $57, it's already starting to pay off with the homer. It can't hurt too bad. You though, you're giving me some shine. You were the money bags. You said I got moves to make for this pitching staff.
I got aggressive. Yeah. I mean, I
talk us through what you did. Let's take a little interlude here and talk about the 3 big ads you had, one of which already started paying dividends yesterday with a big start, Tyler Wells.
Yeah, I got tired of getting outbid. We have a really aggressive league in FAAB, and I was and my offense is pretty good. My pitching has been kind of up and down. And so I just said, hey, I'm going to cut off the back half of this pitching roster and go get some guys. And I picked up in that league, I picked up Josh Winder, Tyler Wells, and I believe Nick Pivetta too, right? In that one.
Right.
And I was aggressive on all 3. I think $57 on both Pivetta and Wells and $171 on Winder. They were overbids, obviously. You know, I think Winder the second highest bid was 91.
91, yeah.
And I think they're in the 20s and 30s for the other guys.
Well, there was 56 for both your wins, 27 and 23. I don't know. That one is like you're securing the guy there. Obviously, you went ham on Winder, but I don't know. I don't hate it. I really don't. I really like him, man. And I think he's going to force his way into continuing to stay with them. How are they going to move on from him right now?
Considering what Bailey Ober's on the IL,
he's on the IL.
Paddock just hurt his elbow, and
Bundy was on the COVID IL and pitching terribly.
Yeah,
and Archer's really only going 4 innings. Maybe he should be moved to the bullpen to go 3-4 innings. I don't know.
Honestly, I think Minnesota needs to. I think Minnesota needs to go get another arm on top of that.
I still think Montas would be a great pickup for them. So so from that end, like I get it. You know it's too high because obviously the second was huge.
I wanted to make sure I was getting him.
Exactly. And I don't think that's always a problem necessarily. Of course, you'd like it to be lower. But you had the thing like, what's going to hurt more, quote unquote, wasting $80, like being 82 high, or missing out on him. And it was the $80, or missing out on him was going to piss you off more. So you went and got your guy.
I'm surprised nobody else went triple digits. I really am.
I couldn't believe it either. I didn't need the pitching. Hitting was my focus. Caprillion on the cheap. I missed on a bunch of hitters, in fact, because the guys I thought were going to go low, like Royce Lewis, did not. But yeah. I put in for Strider and Winder, but I actually think it's Winder, like Sidewinder. I put in for both, but I was in the high 80s just because I didn't need pitching that much. And I thought that Winder's backup would have been over 100 as well. I was surprised it was only 91 because he's looked amazing.
He's looked fantastic. And I mean, obviously it's going to be some regression, but I mean, he's got the makeup of a guy who can actually keep this going. You know, he gets strikeouts. He doesn't walk guys. The question becomes, as things warm up, if MLB does mess with the ball again, like, does he give up more home runs? But
maybe, but then he'll fit in with Ober and Ryan as like a badass strikeout guy, no walks and a few homers. But they're solo shots.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a nice little bolster to my rotation. Wells, I don't know how long Wells can keep this up either. He's another one of these guys. I
like him, man. I think he's legit, actually.
I think he's somewhat legitimate. What I do worry about is, like, he has not gotten all that velocity that we saw when he was in the pen bag. If he were to gain that as the season goes on, we do see guys get stronger as the year goes on, then potentially he could be one of those guys that becomes really, really good, like takes another step. But I mean, Baltimore, man, Camden is playing like a massive pitcher's park.
It's crazy,
it's
dude.
Unreal.
I don't think they ran the tests on that wall, or maybe this is what they wanted. But oh my God, they completely changed the complexion of that park, at least early on. A few more will start to carry as it heats up, but man, it's still going to play as a better pitcher's park than it's ever played before. All right, let's get back to the hot streaks here, and if we're buying or not. Andrés Giménez, a guy you've definitely liked for the past couple of years here. I think you were buying back in even this year. He looks excellent so far. 3 homers, 2 steals, even 2 triples and 4 doubles, just a bunch of extra base hits, 351, 363, 571 for the 23-year-old Giménez. Are we seeing the beginning of something here, or is this a hot streak that will have another huge cold streak? Where are you at on Giménez about a month into his season? 80 plate appearances of quality work so far.
I mean, he's clearly not going to do what he's doing right now, but what he's doing is kind of supported by the underlying numbers.
So you're going to go on record and say a 414 BABIP isn't going to hold? Wow.
No, I don't think so.
That's a take, bro.
He's in like 350 something, right? 351. His XBA is 301. So it's definitely some regression coming. I think he's probably like a 275, 280 kind of hitter.
That's really excellent, though. In today's game, especially.
With low double-digit home runs and stolen bases. I don't think he's going to like develop this huge kind of power stroke or anything like that. I think his main value is batting average and stolen bases. On the plus side, his defense has been really good and much, much better than Ahmed Rosario, who's looked atrocious defensively.
Oh my goodness, yes. It's been really tough.
Which is weird because, I mean, coming up, Rosario is supposed to be like a really good glove. So I think, it's definitely going to slow down, but I think he is a must roster in all formats if he's available. And he's not a guy I would try to sell high on right now. He's actually a guy I wouldn't mind buying at current market value.
Yeah, Giménez has some breakout upside. Andrés Giménez with Cleveland, second and short eligibility, just 16% at ESPN. What if you don't use a middle? Is there room for him on a 10 or 12 teamer if you're not using a middle or a corner?
I think so. I do. I think so.
Not that he qualifies a corner, but usually if you don't have one, you don't have the other. So I just wanted to close the loop there. Sorry, didn't mean to.
Right now, batting average is so hard to get, and
for sure,
getting a guy like Giménez who can give you that and isn't like an empty batting average, can offer stolen bases, which is one of the other hard things to get right now. Really, all offensive categories are hard to get.
if you have a great offense right now, holy crap, you got to be feeling so dang good about where you stand. Okay, let's think Andrés Giménez or Chris Taylor.
I'm going to go Giménez. Taylor's really struggling and got hurt last night, though. I think he's supposed to be okay. I think it's just a bone bruise.
Hopefully he's
okay. But yeah, Taylor is not he's looked like the end of his year self last year, which was not good, right? I mean, a lot of what he did last year was kind of buoyed by the first half. And so Danielle's got Taylor on her TGFBI team. She goes, "Can I drop him? Can I drop him?" I don't know that you want to drop him, but
I would hold. You got to probably have a better cut still because you got a homer.
She doesn't. She doesn't. That's the problem. Her team is ridiculously
he's
good.
Actually still been above average. He's at 256 with a 106 OPS plus. So he's like actually been okay. But
Fabapalooza, she didn't put any bids in. She's like, nobody on the waiver wire is better than what I have.
That's a great position to be in.
In a 15-team league, I'm so effing jealous.
By the way, Taylor has struck out in 50% of his last 49 plate appearances. That's where the panic comes from. So if you're looking at, he got off to a really fast start again, and he's been cratering, and he's got multi-K games coming out the wazoo, Chris Taylor does. So be careful. I can see making the switch, especially if you need the speed.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I wonder if the Dodgers, even though it, like, you know, there's nothing necessarily structurally wrong with his knee after fouling a ball off of it, just put him on the IL just to kind of give him a chance to get his head straight. Yeah.
Yeah. What about Andrés Giménez or Eduardo Escobar, who's trending at 40th right now on the player rater?
Yeah, I think I would 40th overall.
40th at second base. Pardon
me. Oh yeah, no, I think you move on from right now. I was not a Escobar
this is 10
guy.
and 12 team context, by the way.
Yeah, I was not an Escobar guy coming into the season, so I have no problem moving on from him.
What about Kike Hernandez? He's down there in that range as well. He's been struggling.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he needs to play. Otherwise, they're going to have a reason to call Jarren Duran back up. You know, he's not leading off as much anymore. So, yeah, I think I'd make that move as well.
Yeah, he's been really rough, and he never really brings speed anyway, does Kike Hernandez. So if you need the speed, I think Andrés Giménez easily over Kike Hernandez. What about Joey Wendell? This one might have a little bit more deep league appeal because, well, it kind of maybe 15th he's probably picked up because he also has a bunch of positions. Yeah, he's available in 12s, including some OCs, but then obviously shower formats as well. Joey Wendell's been playing pretty well lately, and I wonder if you think there's anything there. He has 4 steals already on the season. That's what really stood out to me and why I thought he was worth mentioning. He is 8th at third base on the player rater.
I'm trying to bring up his. My computer decided it wanted to move slowly. Interestingly, he's playing really regularly. You know, my big fear of him coming in the season was he was going to platoon.
But wouldn't he strong side platoon? By the way, I've been bouncing between player raters, ESPNs, and Razzballs, and I'm sorry, I will specify. I'm going Razzballs the rest of the way. He's 18th at third base on that player rater. They calculate differently. I don't know the exact differences. I like the Razzball one better. Wendell 18th right now, which is still pretty good though, and he qualifies at short. He's got corner middle as well. 4 steals, 12-team viable with Joey Wendell.
I think he is right now. I mean, he's playing pretty close every day.
Occasional lefty he'll sit.
Yeah, it gets extra day off because he's a little bit older than a lot of the other guys on that Marlins team. But he is he's making a lot of contact, though a lot of it's on the ground. Like I don't see a lot of power growth here. His launch angle is 0.5 degrees right now. So that's not great, but he is hitting the ball hard. This definitely has some Eric Hosmer-ish feel to it.
About the speed. That's what I like about Wendell.
Yeah, but they're letting him run, which is great. And
they're usually kind of a running team. He's had some double digits in the past. Can Wendell get 15 more from here forward if he stays healthy?
If he stays healthy, I'd say at least 10 more. I don't know. A 15 feels maybe like it's pushing a little bit,
Fair.
but at the same time, he also is multi-positional eligible, which is always great. Yeah, I think
And it's the opposite. It's corner and middle too, so it's 4 positions for
yeah,
Wendell.
exactly. Yeah, I think I would pick up Wendell in 12s and at least ride the hot streak. I mean, you know, when you've got like a 58% ground ball percentage, which is I think what I saw, yeah, 58.5. You know, some of those
Things
rockets
are going
on the
well.
ground, yeah, some of those rockets on the ground are going to get eaten up by good infield defenses. But for right now, like his XBA is like 20 points higher than his actual BA. So like there's
so maybe he hasn't been lucky because I'm looking at 297 BABIP. He's on the ground a lot, like you said with Wendell, but maybe there's even a heater to push this into 300 average territory. He's only hitting 270, which is good. I don't want to say only, but he's been hot of late. But on the season, like it's still like I don't know. I like Joey Wendell. He's a good player. He's always been a plus bat outside of the 75 game sample in 2019. If they're letting him run like this, we've seen 8 each of the last 3 seasons with a varied amount of playing time, 263, 184, and 501 plate appearances for Wendell. I think we're at least getting 10 more. I like this. If he stays healthy, and that is a big if, that's been a problem for Wendell, but if he stays healthy, I think he's going to be a sneak double-double. I think he'll even get to the 10 homers.
I think the only problem, not the only problem, but I think the long-term problem with Wendell is I think he's likely a trade candidate.
That's fair.
And if he
gets
ends
traded
up
into a platoon.
Yeah, into a platoon or as a reserve on a really good team. So if you have like a pickups limit, he may be someone you want to fade a little bit.
Be tentative with, yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to burn a pickup if you only have 30 or 40 pickups in a year, and then get to the trade deadline and now he's only playing halftime or less. So I in other leagues though, especially 10s and 12s where you're burning your roster, churning and burning your roster anyways, yeah, pick it up, ride it, see how long it goes. Maybe it's something that ends up continuing to go on. And especially in daily moves formats, he's great because that flexibility covers for other guys on days off. So
exactly.
I do like him as a pickup right now, at least for the short term, next few months.
We talked about Alec Bohm a few weeks ago, and he has done nothing to slow down since then. He is now the 11th third baseman on the season. Since the last time we spoke about him on the show, he's hit 319, 360, 426 with a homer and a steal. That's a 14-14 pace. Nothing crazy there. It's the 319 average, the 8 runs that are really driving Bohm's value right now. That'd be a 108 run pace there, just to give you an idea of what 8 runs in a 50 plate appearance sample does. But he's been great. And I'm wondering, should Alec Bohm be universally rostered? He's 41% at ESPN. He's just out there. Is Alec Bohm under rostered, or is there not enough category juice here?
Yeah, that's the hard part. It's kind of empty batting average. And I don't know how well he can keep that elite batting average up for. Like he doesn't have
just hard in general.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have great zone contact numbers or anything like that. He's, balls are finding holes. He's hitting the ball hard. Problem is it's on the ground. Like I think he's just one of those guys that needs a swing tweak, but like we've been saying that with Yandy Diaz for like what feels like a generation, and and it's never come through. I mean, Eric Hosmer, right? Same type of thing. Yeah. Like he needs to change the launch angle.
Because it's not that easy, right? The bottom line is it's actually really hard to do that.
Yeah,
you've been ingrained with these tactics for so long.
And it usually, when it does happen, it often comes with like huge strikeout rates. So, I think he's pick up a bull, but I don't know that he's at the top. Like I think I'd rather have Wendell.
I'd rather have Wendell. I'd rather have Drury.
Yeah, definitely Drury.
I think 1 for 1, like position aside, I'd rather have Simenez.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because Simenez at least is going to steal bases, right?
I mean, I like Bohm. I root for him, but
I do too. Like I was a big fan of his.
Yet.
Yeah, I was a big fan of his coming in last year, which obviously didn't pan out. But
yeah, we both liked him.
and I was willing to kind of buy back on the discount this year. But until we see him start lifting the ball, it's even just a little bit. Like if he can just get his launch angle like to double digits, like that would be huge for him.
Especially
but I just
that park. I think
see
it's still there long term. I don't know if it's there this year. He's pacing for 12 homers. I see probably about 15. He is going to be 26 next year though too. So it's not like there's tons of years of growth on Alec Bohm. Fits that hole. Probably needs to be rostered in more 10s and 12s. Might not be your squad. You might be in Danielle's situation where you're too good. You're too damn good. So that might be where you're at. And that's a good spot to be in. It feels weird, I will admit, because I've been there too, where you look and like, I don't have a cut. Am I being too protective of these guys, or do I really not have a cut? And sometimes you just don't have a cut, and then you don't participate in the FAAB that week. All right, next up is Josh Naylor. Of course, we had to talk about Josh Naylor. He popped off last night. That was an amazing game. Did you see him going absolutely ham after? I loved it. He's like, I want all the smoke. What a sick phrase. 2 homers, 8 ribbies. That's going to do a number. That moved him up to 17th among outfielders at the Razzball Player Rater. Now, I will say, he didn't make all of his numbers from this game. Don't think that, like, if you remove these numbers, his OPS goes down to 600. He was at 804, Josh Naylor was, with a 317 average. He moved it to 943 with a 338 average. So he went from good to great with that one game.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about Josh Naylor? I think we know. I've been pretty clear about how big a fan I am. So where do you currently stand on the Josh Naylor train? I feel like you've been a fan as well.
Yeah, Shelly. Yeah, Shelly and I have him on our tag team league. Unfortunately, he was sitting on our bench last night. Which was brutal.
Better than someone in my Twitch chat who cut him. Shallow league. I think they had a pitcher coming back or something. So
my favorite part about Josh Naylor is always the fact that he stabbed a teammate once. I love to just bring that up every time we discuss him during a prank.
You see last night's display, and maybe you're less.
And then he stabbed Liam Hendricks
right in the heart.
He's making fantastic zone contact right now, hitting the ball hard, getting the ball in the air. Cleveland is not a place I'm worried about playing time if he continues to hit. I think there's a lot of reason to think that he will. And if he can, like,
upside here.
Yeah, I mean, he could legit be like a 30 homer guy with like a 280 batting average.
Correct. Like that's obviously everything goes right. He stays healthy. That's the dream. But the projection, I think, is like 16 to 18 more homers and a 270 average.
Yeah, I mean, Steamer and depth charts both have him at 17 home runs with 270 batting average rest of the season.
I'm getting in the mind of that. I'm projecting them before they can project me.
I mean, the really great thing is, he's always been a guy who doesn't strike out. And I mean,
that's what I liked about Naylor.
Yeah, he's doing that again this year with a 13.7% strikeout rate. Not walking, but when you're making that much contact and it's good contact, things are going to go well. Cleveland's a sneaky team right now. Like, I think some of us, including myself, are kind of burying them for not spending money, but they're actually pretty decent, and he's going to hit in the middle of that lineup as long as he continues to hit. And so, I like Naylor a lot. I think he's probably
the top
my
of the list
favorite. Yeah, my favorite of this group. Yeah,
absolutely. I tell you, Franmil getting out of his funk. If you cut him, you might go back and get him because he's coming out of it. Bunch of multi-hit games. Now, he was the fantasy GOAT yesterday. Goes 0 for 5 when they score 12 runs. So that's tough. And you probably think, same old. But before that, he was on a 6-game heater going 12 for 23 for Franmil. So he's coming out of it. I understand cutting him in a 10 and 12. Might be time to put Franmil back on the squad. But Josh Naylor is the top of this list for me. I'm a huge fan. I think he's got real breakout potential. I think even if he doesn't quite have a huge breakout year, I think what you can get as just kind of the projection is great. Everyone would take 17 and 273 off the wire right now, and I think he can beat that projection. Josh Naylor. Tommy Pham, talked about him earlier, possibly getting traded out. Remember, he came in and said, I'm about to get my numbers. That's why he went to Cincinnati. He picked a good park, and he's just trying to get his numbers. So he's getting them. He's got 4 homers, 2 steals, 17 runs, only 9 ribbies. That's probably more based on his team. 234, 345, 415. Pham staying healthy right now and playing and beasting. How do you feel about him in more of the long term? Because I know you've been a huge Pham fan. Are you still a Pham fan? And do you think he gets traded as well, or do you think he gets stay in Cincy all year? 15 questions. Answer them all in order.
I am still a Pham fan. And I do think he gets traded out of Cincinnati. That being said, I think he will be like kind of a cheap option for a competing team that doesn't want to go over like the luxury tax threshold or something like that.
Correct.
I would assume he would continue to play every day. I guess
it would depend exactly where he goes, but yeah, they would most likely be targeting him as a consistent player because that's what Pham is.
Yeah. So, I like him a lot. I mean, what he was getting really unlucky, a little bit just bad luck, because he was hitting so many balls on the ground. So what did he do? He just decided to stop hitting so many balls on the ground, and he's hitting more line. He's hitting more line drives. And a few more fly balls, but he's barreling the ball. He's making really good zone contact, and he's got speed, which I love. So I mean, he's a potential 5 category player in a great ballpark until he gets traded. But like, what contender has a bad ballpark? Not many of them. True. Giants. That's about it. So
he hasn't even taken advantage of the park yet. He's hitting 647 OPS. At home, Pham is. So wait till he gets going in the home ballpark. Then it's really going to pop off to another level.
I don't think the Giants are the team that's going to trade for him, considering all their options already. And then the other team that's a contender is St. Louis. They ain't. That has a bad ballpark, and they're not trading for him either. The Mets have a lot of outfielders, so I mean, I think wherever he ends up, it's probably going to be a good park. I think Pham is an easy. I think he's arguably a better pickup than Naylor because of the speed. The speed component.
38%, 38% rostered at ESPN. Certainly available. I'm still going to lean Naylor just because of his health profile, because of Pham's health profile. Not that Naylor, broke his leg.
Naylor's had some health issues throughout his career.
He's not 34. He's not 34.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's what I'm. But they're close. They're close. They're up there, and then Drury's right behind them. That's the group I like. You mentioned your Giants and all the options they have. One guy, he only really plays against lefties, but he's killing so much that I wonder if Austin Slater might have enough viability. He's hit 275 with 2 homers, 2 steals in 61 plate appearances. Is there anything here, or is it just short side platoon hotness right now?
I think it's just short side platoon hotness. I mean, he's got talent, but he's never gonna play full time. So like he's one of those guys.
Even though he's hitting against righties this year, they're not gonna take that. Let me see, 24 at bat sample seriously.
No, they're not.
I thought Farhan knew what he was doing. Unbelievable.
He does.
He's probably gonna say a 438 BABIP is gonna regress. Okay, Farhan, if that is. No, I'm just kidding. I'm being stupid.
He's been incredible. Especially
Slater
kind
has.
of off the bench and stuff like that, right? Because he does come in to kind of replace guys defensively, or in pinch hit situations up against a lefty. But just
really,
there are
NL only, right?
I think NL only, unless you have really deep rosters, in daily moves where like you can't deep benches. Where you can like play a guy who's lefty, or this is the reason why like roster resource having that pitcher's probable page. RotoWire's got a great one too. Like these are really important to look at before you do your FAAB, because you can go, hey, the Giants are facing 5 lefties this week. That means Slater's gonna get 5 games in. Maybe he's a guy streaming for the week.
Bingo. That's the way to do it with somebody
or DFS.
Like Austin Slater. Yeah, DFS is also another good way. And I wanted to bring him up because I'm sure he pops up on a lot of people's wires when they sort by steals every week, because he's always got like 1 or 2. If they're sorting for the season, they're like, okay, he's got Austin Slater 2 steals. Is it worth it? Because all the other numbers are pretty good. He's just popped off against righties in a short sample. He's never really done that before. They're not going to entrust him to do that because they don't have to. And as such, it's difficult to pick him up outside of the scenarios that Justin outlined. And this week, they had a lefty yesterday, so he played against Gomber, and they get one more against Mats on Friday. It's 2 lefties. Like, he's going to get a few sprinkle at bats beyond that. So
and he may not get a ton of sprinkle at bats beyond that either, because they've gotten so many guys back, and they're having a really they haven't activated Longoria just because they don't want to make a roster move right now.
Wow, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
All
so
right, let's rank them all.
I think for me it's Pham, Naylor, Drury, no,
Jay, and then the rank.
I'm gonna put Giménez in front of Drury, actually. Okay. So Giménez, then and actually put Giménez in front of Naylor.
And you don't have to rank Heim because the catcher is just completely
okay. Then probably Wendell, Baum, Hosmer.
Then Slater last.
Yeah,
I think that part's definitely right. Okay, so I'm gonna go Naylor, Giménez, Drury, Pham. A little low on Pham. I think the health just terrifies me. Wendell, Bohm, Hosmer, Slater, same as you at the end there. Okay, so that's how we rank those guys. They're available in a lot of shower formats. The only one who wasn't, I think, was Hosmer. Hosmer is up there, but we ranked him low anyway. We're not really that bigger fans of him anyway.
I think he's the sell high guy right now.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's the guy. If someone lost Frank Schwindel, and you're like, this is like a better version of Frank Schwindel. Well, Schwindel's back, but he came back and struck out 4 times last night. So somebody's listening right now that has Hosmer in a league. Yeah. Where these guys are available. You're saying just cut Hosmer right now for these guys, because I would. All the guys I would above him. Yeah, I mean, I would try and trade him if I can.
Sure,
but if that's not an option,
or if there's no worse cut, I'd be open to cutting Hosmer straight up for Pham, or for Pham, Naylor, Wendell, Giménez, for sure.
You have 2 P7s, by the way.
I do.
You did Slater and Hosmer.
My bad. I didn't want to rank anybody 8, man.
I think
being last.
I mean, I think when you start talking about like Wendell, Baum, and Hosmer, they're all kind of doing the same thing. So I think you can, I kind of put Wendell up there because the speed component, and then I put Baum above Hosmer because it's a better ballpark. Yep. And I think a better lineup at the moment, with Tatis still out. So, but like, I think you can make the argument that maybe Hosmer is better than those guys.
That's true. I think those 3 are together, but the 4 ahead of them, absolutely. I would easily cut Hosmer for. Easily.
For sure.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll probably talk something similar about pitchers on Friday, where we're talking about guys that are performing well lately. We'll do some check-ins too, see how Paul Blackburn's been doing. Merrill Kelly, spoiler alert, they're both doing pretty well. Good. So we'll check in with that and see where we're at with them. But until then, Justin, have a good one. Oh, we will have a DraftKings if you're listening to this on Tuesday. I haven't created it yet. Or wait, I did create it, but I didn't give you.
You did create it.
Did I give you a link?
I think you gave me a link. I just got to put it in the roto write-up.
Okay, cool. Because I gave it to my stream. I wasn't sure if I clicked it your way yet. All right. Well, great talking with you. Talk to you later.
Take it easy.